for Triller Fight Club's Triad Combat, a brand new combat sport that Triller Fight Club is introducing. We are very excited for this mega event next Saturday, November 27th in Arlington, Texas. You can watch it live on your local cable or satellite pay-per-view providers or on Fight TV, and the price is $19.99. As what this does is we put fighters in a triangular fighting combat surface, and then what they do is we have 2-minute rounds, and they collide, and it merges the world of MMA and boxing. We allow holding, but it is strictly punching to the head and also to the body. Spinning back fists are allowed as well. Also, we have 2 teams, one consisting of boxers that are coached by Shannon the Cannon Briggs, former heavyweight champion, and one coached by the MMA team is coached by Quentin Rampage Jackson, former UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. Our main event, you heard from them a few days ago. That'll feature Kubrat Pulev, the former heavyweight title contender, going head-to-head against the former UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Frank Mir. Our co-main event, also in the heavyweight division for 7 rounds scheduled, it'll feature Alexander Flores, who has a record of 18-3-1 with 16 wins coming by way of knockout, taking on the UFC and Bellator veteran, the outstanding athlete and former member of the Minnesota Vikings and New York Giants, Mitrione. On top of Triad Combat, next Saturday, you get a full concert from music Icons Metallica. That is going to be an unbelievable show that exactly what Triller Fight Club has done. Barely approaching the 1-year anniversary when we had Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. go ahead and collide at Staples Center. We followed it up with Jake Paul and Ben Askren, featuring also Justin Bieber on the show as well. We're continuing the momentum. The Trillerverse shows do over 5 million viewers each and every single show. So Triller Fight Club continues to merge the world of entertainment and fighting. We are led by Ryan Kavanaugh. Also, next Saturday, November 27th, will be directed by the brains behind American Idol. And So You Think You Can Dance, the renowned Hollywood producer and icon Nigel Lithgow as well. With that being said, let's meet the man involved in our co-main event with Triad Combat. I will first start off on the boxing side, 18-3-1, 16 wins coming by way of knockout. Looking forward to representing his sport of boxing, Alexander Flores. Alexander, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, right?
Give me your thoughts on being a part of Triad Combat.
It's exciting, it's an opportunity to fight. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I've been training for quite some time. I was looking for a fight in December, and this opportunity popped up. So I said, yes, let's do it.
All right. Well, we're very excited to have you next Saturday, November 27th in Arlington, a part of Triad Combat. The man that'll be standing across or away from the triangle against you is none other than a man who's beaten the likes of Fedor Emelianenko, Derek Lewis, Roy Nelson, Gabriel Gonzaga as well. He's a fantastic athlete, as you see him with the football as well. He's been a combat sports veteran for over a decade. Matt Mitrione. Matt, how are you?
What's up, man? How are you?
Great. Now tell us about, you've dived into the world of, the NFL, being with the Giants and everything else, and the Vikings. You got into MMA, you were successful there, but now you're with Triad Combat and Triller Fight Club. What does this mean to you?
It's pretty exciting, man. It's it's a new opportunity. I think that I've always had baptism by fire, and I think this is another experience in which it's cool to be in an inaugural show like this, a new sports birth. I think it should be pretty dope. And I think the competition's great. I think you guys did a great job matchmaking. Should be a really good time.
Now, you've been a part of team sports before, and then you went into this individual space when it comes to MMA. But now that you're it's still individual based, but Triller is introducing that team format when it comes to team MMA against team boxing. Do you like that? Are you looking forward to bonding with fighters when you get down to Arlington?
Yeah, man. I think that we all know each other. I think like the MMA world's pretty small. So I think a lot of us know each other. We all have a pretty good history with each other. So it should be a good time. It should be get in there to get a little bit of work. Plus, I like the fact that there's incentives. There's incentives for MMA to do well, incentives for boxing to do well. So it just incentivizes us to really want to push each other and hope each other's success.
Do you also like the fact that, I mean, you're typically used to fighting 5-minute rounds. This is 2-minute rounds. So do you think that we're going to see a lot more action because of that, because it's such a short amount?
Well, I think that's kind of a double-edged sword. I think, yeah, but also in the same time, I think that a guy like my opponent, Alexander, he pushes pace. He has really good tempo. He's got really good cardio. So I expect fireworks from him anyways. I know that he's trained with quite a few people that I've fought and friends with. So I know a lot about him. I know that he's got a good power guy. He's got good combinations. So I imagine he'll bring the pace as well, regardless of what the duration of the rounds are.
Alexander, for you being able to, you're used to fighting 3-minute rounds. And as Matt mentioned, you like to push the pace. What are your thoughts on fighting these 2-minute rounds? We can't hear you, Alexander.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, no, I think you muted me. No, I mean 7-minute rounds for 2 minutes. I mean, that's 14 minutes of fighting. It's like a 4-round fight. But I think it's going to be at a fast pace, to be honest. I mean, it's a small ring. It's a triangle, so there's really no place to run. So I feel like we're going to be in the center of the ring and exchanging and throwing some heat. It should be a fun night.
And also being a part of the team concept, because boxing is so individual. And for you being a part of team boxing and representing for the Sweet Science with Shannon Briggs as the team leader, the captain, the coach, what is this like for you?
It's awesome, man. Like it's a great opportunity. I don't like that they're comparing MMA to boxing. They're two different sports, but it should be a fun night, man.
Well, what it's doing is it's leveling off the playing field so that you can grab but still punch, but it is strictly, punching. But also one thing, the spinning back fist and the hammer strikes and stuff. So have you been preparing in terms of how to be able to possibly deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my great buddies, my business partner, he's an MMA fighter, so we've been working on certain things too.
Well, awesome. Well, right now I'm going to turn it over to Bernie Barmazar, our esteemed publicist, with questions from the media for both Matt Mitrione and Alexander Flores. Again, it is Triad Combat next Saturday, November 27th from Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Tickets are still available, TrillerFightClub.com, or you can watch at your local cable or satellite pay-per-view provider or Fight TV, $19.99. Not only do you get Triad Combat, but a full concert from musical icons Metallica. You want to be there, be a part of this historic night of combat sports and entertainment. Bernie, the floor is all yours.
Thanks very much, Ray. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function, and I will call on you to speak with either Matt Mitrione or Alexander Flores. Our first question comes from Dylan Boker. Go ahead, Dylan.
Appreciate you taking my call. My first question was for Matt, because this is such a curious rule setup, hybrid kind of dynamic. Obviously, the team facet was mentioned. Are you finding there like a strong level of camaraderie with the MMA guys and curating a very unique here?
Yeah, man. We've all reached out to each other, talked about what things we're working on, things we find that are working well, a little bit different, frustrating. Boxing is such a sweet science, right? It's a very based around footwork. MMA is not so much. MMA is a lot more pressure and preparing for levels. It's takedowns or shots or where you're going to attack at. It's a very, very different sport overall to kind of prepare for. But we've all been in touch, and I think we're trying to make sure we're all as well prepared as possible.
And just as a quick follow-up, because I thought one of the big takeaways from Frank Mir's media call, he was saying that these Triller paydays are amongst the biggest of his career overall. Where does this one rank for you?
It's a nice payday. I mean, I've had a good financial life, so I'm happy that I've done well, and I'm glad that I came along in my mature days of fighting was when the paychecks started getting really good. So I'm happy about it. I'm glad to see that that there's an opportunity for fighters to make good money still.
Yeah, glad to hear it for sure. And just a quick question for Alexander, because you faced some big names boxing like Luis Ortiz, Joseph Parker, obviously Matt Mitchell, big profile in MMA space. Like, what are your thoughts on his main, I guess, stylistic proclivities, like the real dangerous tools he brings to the table as a fighter?
Sorry, can you repeat that again? You were cutting off a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, like, what do you see as Matt Mitrione's main stuff proclivities, like the big tools he brings to the table?
I know he has a good left. I mean, he's very athletic. You know, I mean, he played in the NFL and he fought in the UFC and Bellator. I feel like, I mean, other than the spinning back fist and the other stuff, I mean, I get hit in the face anyway. So as long as I'm not getting kicked or taken down, I'm cool with that. But it should be a good night.
Awesome. Thanks for the insight.
Thank you, Dylan. Our next question comes from Damon Martin from MMA Fighting. Go ahead, Damon.
Hey, Matt, obviously you've done so much in your mixed martial arts career. What was it about this that made you want to, kind of cross over and do, almost a boxing event, I guess? Like, was it just the money? Was it just something you wanted to explore? Was it just for the fun of it? Like, what was it about this that made you want to do it?
Well, I'm luckily, I'm very fortunate where I've had a good financial life. So money really wasn't that much of a motivator. It was different, right? Like, I love stand-up. I think stand-up's a great time. I like kickboxing. I like getting down. I like throwing hands. But I'm really, obviously, to nobody's surprise, I'm not much of a fan of wrestling. Like I posted the other day, like I don't consider wrestling fighting. I consider it vital for MMA, but I don't consider wrestling fighting. So I think something that can come along that can utilize a skill set that we've developed in MMA with the gloves that we use in MMA for training, but utilize the footwork and the aggression and the science behind boxing, I think is a hell of as a concept. And it turned me on enough that, like, when they called about it, I had to think about it for a little bit, talk to my wife, and she was like, dude, I think it sounds right up your alley. So let's say yes. And that's what we did.
What do you make, as a guy who's been around MMA for so long, what do you make of this current, trend in the sport? We're seeing so many MMA guys crossing over into boxing. A lot of people say it is a financial motivation, and getting like Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul and things like that. But at the same time, I know a lot of fighters, a lot of mixed martial artists love boxing. Like, they just love the sport. So what do you make of this kind of current trend? We're seeing so much kind of intermixing between boxing and MMA.
Well, without getting entirely too political, I think the fact that, the Ali Act is there. I think that there's so much more available money in boxing. I think the fact that there's some hype fights, stuff like this, I think it makes a massive difference. I think it's a really interesting perspective once the contracts came through to look at the differences in how either it's boxing or Triller contracts are versus what my MMA contracts were, as far as things that were just automatically included, you didn't have to negotiate or bargain for. It was a pretty substantial difference to the betterment for Triller. So I don't know if that's different or if this is a standard boxing clause. I'm not sure, but I know it is significantly different and significantly better than what MMA is.
And last question for you, Matt. There's a bit of a Ultimate Fighter reunion happening with this card with Rampage. Are you excited for that?
Dude, I love Rampage. I think he's a great dude, man. He and I have a very good relationship. I didn't know he's going to be here, to be honest. So I'm hyped to see his fat face.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Damon. Our next question comes from Jose Matos. And again, once again, if you have a question for either Matt Mitrione or Alexander Flores, please use the raise hand function. I will call on you.
Hello, my first question is for Matt. Matt, what kind of challenge do you anticipate Alexander Flores giving you on November 27th?
Well, he has really good footwork. He has a very, very fast hands. He scraps well. He throws combinations well when he's into a corner, when he's up against a rope. He fights. That's when, in my opinion, I find him to be most dangerous. So I think that it's a very interesting equation that I have to solve. And I've got good boxers. I've got good friends of mine that are boxers that I've done a lot of work with. And I was able to reach out with them and talk to them about some stuff I need to work on. I have really good coaches here. And I feel like I'm pretty confident in what we've been able to develop as far as a game plan. But Alexander's a hell of a boxer, man. He's been in with some of the best in the world. And he's done just fine. He has a hell of a record. He's 18-3. So I think his hands, I think his footwork, and I think that him setting the tempo, which is what I believe he's going to try to do, will dictate on how the fight goes.
And last question for you, Matt, is, November 27th, you're taking part in Triad Combat, but have we seen the last of you in MMA?
That's an interesting question. I think matchups are what's sexy, right? Yeah. So like matching me up against a wrestler, I don't want to do that. If I'm not on contract, I'm not going to say yes. I train often. I stay in shape. I'm a stand-up guy. I enjoy the efforts of it, but I'm not trying to get impregnated. So if there's something that comes my way that I find really interesting, I'm down for that conversation.
Thank you, Matt. And my last question is for Alexander Flores. Alexander, kind of the same question for Matt. What's next for you as far as your boxing career? Is Triad Combat still something that you're going to be looking to continue, or can we expect you back in boxing?
I mean, if there's another opportunity for the Triad fighting, then I'll do it. But I mean, as far as fighting, I was looking for a fight in December, and I didn't get there was no fights that came up. So then after we got this, I think it was a phone call or email for a fight on Triad, and I was like, oh, let's do it. I've been shaved, I've been sparring, so yeah, I took the fight. I told him too, as long as there's no takedowns, kicks, then I'm cool with that. But as far as boxing, like, yeah, I'm still gonna fight boxing.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks very much for the question. Our next question comes from Cynthia Conte from Ring Magazine. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it's really pretty much okay. Let me go start with Matt first. Matt, since we've seen how athletes have kind of crossed over into different sports to try it, if you were to actually like boxing, I mean, really fully like it. I know you said you like your stand-up. Would you continue in the sport, not in Triad, but fully immersed in boxing?
It's funny you said that. My wife looks at me and shakes her head. I'm always down for an opportunity, and if it seems right, and if it seems like something I want to do, then yeah, I would entertain that kind of conversation for sure. I still train, I still get down, I still work on a regular basis as far as I still grapple even though I don't like it. I still do stand up, I still kickbox. So I'm always down for it as long as it makes sense. And if I'm going to take a risk, as long as the compensation is proper, then I'm happy to say yes and throw my name in the ring.
Okay, and then also since it is more of a stand-up game, and obviously you do watch fighters, is there a fighter that you kind of emulate, or if fans don't know who you are as a stand-up, who would you say that you fight like in a stand-up game?
Yeah. I follow you. Yeah, honestly, probably like your drunken uncle. I'm rather unorthodox. I fight left-handed. I'm awkward. I throw things that I shouldn't throw. So yeah, I'd probably say your drunken uncle probably at the Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay, and lastly, I see you holding a football, and right now it's a really good season, and I have to say, I'm a Pats fan, could be a contender for Super Bowl. But since you did play with the Vikings and Giants, who do you root for, or is there another team that you root for?
I'm not much of an NFL fan. I think that me seeing the business side of the NFL made me not like it nearly as much. But I'm a major college football fan. I like all the pomp and circumstance. I like the bands, like the student sections. So I'm much more of a college guy. I'm obviously a Purdue guy because that's my alma mater. But I also like University of Texas. I like pretty much anybody in the SEC. So I like the Big Ten. I'm a Midwestern guy. I'm not a Pac-10 guy. I'm not necessarily a Big 12 guy for the most part. But it should be pretty dope. It should be fun. Like this season's a hell of a college season for sure.
No, I agree. Lots of upsets. Thank you. Good luck to you. And then also one last question for Alexander. Basically almost the same question for you in the sense that you've been training with your business partner who's an MMA fighter. What are you finding out about MMA that you're liking and you don't like?
The stand-up is cool, but just without the kicking and the takedowns and elbows. I mean, I'm a boxer, so I'm a stand-up guy. I'll stay there, I'll box, I'll exchange punches. But as far as MMA, I like watching it, but I wouldn't like fighting in the octagon and getting kicked or getting taken down because that's not my thing.
When you hear Matt say that he fights like a drunken uncle and he's very unorthodox and unconventional, how do you take that?
To be honest, man, I spar with like some awkward fighters. It could be a little tricky, but I'm expecting the best man Mitrione that night. I'm expecting him running 5 to 10 miles every night, training. So I'm gonna expect the best from him that night.
Well, best of luck to both of you and stay safe in the triangular ring or stage.
Thank you, Cynthia. Before we get to the next question, Alexander, you're based in Southern California, correct?
Yes, correct.
So Chargers, Raiders, Rams, which one?
Man, to be honest, I don't watch football like I used to.
Gotcha. I thought we had this pro football conversation would go
I
so
know,
well.
man. I'm like, way out. Like, I don't watch college football, NFL anymore. I just focus on my thing, man. I don't even watch basketball like I used to.
You guys better be bringing the heat next Saturday night.
Oh, we will. We definitely will.
And don't be faking me out by wearing one of your football jerseys into the ring either.
Bring it.
All right, our next question.
I'm a Dodger fan, though.
Our next question comes again from Dylan Boker. Go ahead, Dylan.
Appreciate you taking my call. I thought to posit this question to Matt first and then also Alexander as well, just because of part of this Triad Combat show is Metallica playing. I'm kind of curious if that's like an important kind of facet of this, like if there's like a favorite Metallica song or album of theirs.
Well, first of all, I've seen Metallica actually. In 2003, I saw them the Summer Sanitarium tour at the Giant Stadium, and it was dope. It was madness. I was in the pit. It was really, really nuts. So when I found out Metallica was playing, it was actually one of the drivers for me to say yes, because I thought it was such a dope show concept. So you know, is there? I mean, I'm a everybody's a one guy, Sandman guy, Master of Puppets guy. Like, I'm a big fan overall. But I'm just looking forward to the show, man. We get out there, we scrap a little bit, get to watch Metallica. I mean, how can it go any harder than that?
Yeah, and same question to Alexander, like just with Metallica playing, if this is like a big important thing for you, and also an extension of that, if there's like a favorite song or album of Metallica's you gravitate toward.
Man, to be honest, I've never heard of them play. Maybe I probably heard the popular song, but I know they're big. You know, I'm just, I never really been a big fan, but I know it's going to be an awesome event. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Alexander, I will text you your favorite Metallica song. Is that
okay?
The press conference.
I'll listen to it too.
So I guarantee you someone is going to ask you that when we get to Dallas, what's your favorite Metallica song? I'll text you 3 of them. I know Matt's got at least 3 of them. We'll be all set.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Ray, would you get us out of this, please, if you don't mind?
Absolutely. I just want to give final comments first from both guys. Again, we are looking forward to Triad Combat next Saturday night, November 27th, Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, $19.99 in your local cable or satellite providers, or you can watch on Fight TV as well. Not only do we have Triad Combat featuring the world of boxing against mixed martial arts in this triangular ring. The coaches are led by, on the MMA side, Quentin Rampage Jackson, for UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, and also former champion Shannon the Cannon Briggs will be leading the boxing side. As we talked about, a full performance from musical legends Metallica as well, all brought to you by Triller Fight Club, led by our president and CEO, Ryan Kavanaugh. This is going to be produced by Nigel Lithgow, the brains behind American Idol. But Alexander, your final thoughts as you get set for your matchup against Matt Mitrione and Triad Combat, the Triangular Ring, next Saturday, November 27th.
It's going to be a hell of a fight, I'll tell you that. I'm in shape. We've been training, and my hand will be raised that night.
Matt Mitrione, your final thoughts as you prepare once again to make that walk, but this time in Arlington, Texas, against Alexander Flores, a part of Triad Combat.
Hey, man, let's get weird, baby. I mean, I'm glad he feels like he's going to get his hand raised. I feel the same. I throw heat. He throws heat. Let's see who comes out winning, baby.